Go to meetings might not think you need to go to. Go to meetings they don't think you need to go to. I've learned so much. I always say, and many people say this, it's a great thing. You just do your research first. Research whatever you have to document. Research it well so that when you go to talk to a subject matter expert, you don't waste their time. If you show that respect, you'll get a lot of good answers. They'll see that you tried. And so now I try really hard. I mean, all the things I'm talking about are, steeping yourself in the product and the application, getting on it, trying it, talking to everybody, because then you have that frame of reference, you have that perspective, but you also start to know that user. I'm user obsessed, but whenever possible, I do try to look at feedback and support tickets. And again, look at the analytics of a knowledge base. I think that's so cool that you can look at where are they visiting? What do they need? And where are they not visiting? Is it stale? Is it out of date? Why are they not going there? Why are they not reading this? And so I don't have exact metrics all the time, but I'm very aware of how they would be compiled. And I do pay attention. Whenever I can, I pay attention to feedback.
Welcome to the Knowledge Base Ninjas podcast, where Gauri Ramkumar of Document 360 finds the best SaaS self-service knowledge bases in the world and then interviews their creators. Let's get started with today's episode.
Good day, everyone. Our guest today is Lynne Thompson, technical writing consultant. She's got ample amount of experience and perfect guest to be in this podcast. So welcome, Lynne, to the Knowledge Base Ninjas podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you, Gauri, so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, great. So I'm just going to take you many years backwards. Tell me, how did it all start?
Many years.
Yeah.
It started in a funny way. I don't think it would happen this way today because tech writing was so new, as a profession. I mean, people always did it. Engineers were always doing it, or even like secretaries would do it. It was just not defined as a profession. So I was finishing up college, and I took an extra semester off. So my friend who was in the same age group, she graduated early, and she got a job through a recruiter at AT&T being like a tech editor.
Okay.
And as I was graduating, I said, what am I going to do? And I was thinking, I majored in English. I loved books. I thought I lived close, to New York City. And I said, I'll get the bus into New York. I'll get a job in a publishing house. And I know I would have been happy with that. I just loved the idea of that. But I found out how much it costs to go into New York.
Okay.
I found out how little they pay you and I had been like a lot of students scraping the whole time, and I was just really wanting to make some money, and I had a college loan. So my friend Kim said, well, why don't you just call my guy and maybe you can get a job at AT&T as a technical editor. And so I did. And it was the start. That was the start. It was just my friend, I owe her. And I worked on a huge FCC filing because it's so long ago that AT&T was not quite, split up yet. And they were filing all kinds of giant sets of documentation to prove they were okay financially. And I had to edit those. And it was a weird introduction, but I worked at it. I enjoyed I liked how much time you get to be on your own. That's what I liked.
Yeah.
And it just grew from there. I just got more and more skills. I worked at Western Electric. It's funny, I got interviewed on another podcast and I told this story about how we assembled books at Western Electric. And I thought the interviewer would fall off the chair. We were laughing so hard because it was old fashioned then. Like I was pasting typeset on boards and all that stuff. But yeah, it just grew from there. I spent a lot of time. AT&T has tons of places to work, tons of locations. New Jersey's a great place to be for AT&T. So I just bopped around and got more and more technical, developed skills as I went, took some courses. That's how I did it.
Wow. I know I won't do a lot of justice today in this call because it's such a short podcast recording, but let me try. Now, how can so from your experience, Lynne, how can technical writers gather accurate information about their audience's skill level, background, expectations because you have worked in this field for ample amount of time in various profiles. Yeah.
It's always been hard. It's a little easier now. I would say it depends where you are. Like some companies, you're plugged in to the marketing people, you talk to the salespeople. I know it on one project, I was on an implementation team. There were salespeople, there were marketing people, product owners. And so I got to hear the concerns the
Yeah.
salespeople were having with the customers. And many times we would address them directly. We would say, well, would this help if I put this in my document? And they said yes. So those that kind of incidental learning about the customer is great, but other places you're not that plugged in, and so you have to really try hard. Like if they have a feedback mechanism in place, you can
Yeah.
review that. If they have a knowledge base and they have those stars and people are clicking, you can look at that. You can also, knowledge bases are great. You can look at what's fresh, what do people visit the most.
Yes.
That may indicate they're having an issue. You can also just talk to product owners. They hear things. So in other words, just talk to everybody you can talk to. People
Absolutely.
want to help. The people want to make the product better. They don't even think sometimes. I always say when I start a job, ask me to every meeting. I will decide what to drop out of because they
Yeah.
all like more old-fashioned people think we're not going to talk about technical writing. You don't need to be in this meeting. And I was like, no, it's about the product or the application. It's about the customer. Go to meetings might not think you need to go to. Go to meetings they don't think you need to go to. I've learned so much. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
One case in point, I jumped on a scrum when I worked at Verizon. I jumped on the scrum. I insisted that I be on the scrum every morning. And they were like, what do you need to be on the scrum? Like they just, they were like, that's a little weird. And I
Yeah.
said, I need to hear because it was a brand new application. And I said, I need to hear the developers, what they're struggling with, what's around the corner, how they're handling it, so that I can start forming how best to document it. Because it was a
Yeah.
little more complex. It was for data scientists, a user guide for data scientists. And that was so helpful. So if you can plug in early, that's the best way.
Fantastic. So you spoke a little bit about how you apply, what strategy you apply to help gather the right information. But then, what strategies do you think will help simplify complex concepts?
Well, there's always the good old interview the right person.
Mm.
Um, I always say, and many people say this, it's a great thing. You just do your research first.
Yeah.
Research whatever you have to document, research it well, so that when you go to talk to a subject matter expert, you don't waste their time. If you show that respect, you'll get a lot of good answers. They'll see that you tried. They'll
Mm.
hear that that you prepared, and they will talk to you. They want to talk to you. People love to talk about what they do, but
Yes.
everybody's busy, so you have to show respect.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I
So
get the
again,
information. Yeah.
communication is the key, I guess.
You have to be inventive. Like I have a story from a long time ago where there was a product owner who was super busy and he wouldn't answer my calls. It was like when we used to use phones on the desk, so
Yeah.
he could
Yeah.
see who was calling. He could see who was
Okay.
calling. And I needed this piece of information that was really important to get my book done. And so I went to the office next door and called from that phone and he answered.
Oh no.
You
Oh
just do what you have to do. You know what I mean? And I was very polite. I was like, "Oh, hi Joel, I just need a quick moment." And he was fine.
no. Okay.
When we get stressed like that, we don't think, right? We're like, "Oh, I don't have time for this." And he wasn't answering.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, to them, documentation is the least important thing, and that's not true, right? We know that's not true. It's coming
Yeah.
around. People are realizing how important it is, and
Yes. Absolutely.
uh,
As you rightly said, see, this whole podcast series was started, if I remember correctly, during the pandemic time. We are like fifth year or sixth year into it, and the shift has already happened. And we see here from guests that we speak these days that documentation is not the last piece of the puzzle. It is
yeah,
right from the beginning.
I'm so grateful for that because it just makes it easier for everybody,
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
especially the users.
Very true, very true. By the way, I like that way, the one that you said, don't go to the meetings that they want you to be, go to the meetings that they do not want you to be. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's just sort of like a desperation policy, but now I do it all the time. Like I just say, by the way, I'm going to go to all these meetings and, you
yeah,
know, I'm just a fly on the wall in the beginning. and I'm not going to bother you. And if it's not appropriate, I'll drop out after a week or two. But, they
Hmm.
can't really decide where you belong, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're the industry matter expert in this one. So, just coming to the technical writers, right? What's your observation around some of the common mistakes that they could make in order to make the content more complicated than necessary?
That's a big question. Maybe I've made this mistake where you jump in and you just start documenting without having that bigger picture. I think it's
Mm.
really important to have that bigger picture where this little thing you're documenting fits in and give the user that perspective. And if you don't do that, it can be it's not connected to anything. It could be very complicated, this little procedure that they're not sure why they need to do it or when
Yeah,
or how, right? I've done that a bunch of times. And so now I try really hard. I mean, all the things I'm talking about are, steeping yourself in the product and the application, getting on it, trying it, talking to everybody, because then you have that frame of reference, you have that perspective, but you also
yeah.
start to know that user. I'm user obsessed. It's
Hmm.
really important to understand that user. It's so great to see people talking about that on LinkedIn, talking about
Yeah,
that more. It,
yeah.
I'm very happy to see the evolution over the years.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, another big question, according to me, is what specific metrics or user behaviors indicate that your documentation is successful or failing?
Work for a lot of big companies, and they call me in kind of on a very limited, you know, defined project. Sometimes I'm there for a while, sometimes I'm not. So there's not always metrics related to documentation, to be honest. And I don't have a lot of influence on that, but I do my little part. Like I do Grammarly, I have like a certain score I have to get, and
Mm.
I save that and I show that documentation has improved over time. But whenever possible, I do try to look at feedback and support tickets. And again, look at the analytics of a knowledge base. I think that's so cool that you can look
Yes,
at where are they visiting? What do they need? And where are they not visiting? Is it stale? Is it out of date? Why are they not going there? Why are they not reading this? And so I don't have exact metrics all the time, but I'm very aware of how they would be compiled. And I do pay attention. Whenever I
mm.
can, I pay attention to feedback.
Yeah, I think some of the common indicators we suggest our customers is support ticket. Has it reduced from X to Y? How much is your engagement with customers or onboarding team? How are they finding from the customer's point of view? So yeah, it's as you rightly said, not everybody measures a documentation
Yeah.
success and tries to improvise it. Yeah,
You can
but things are
still
changing. Things are
Yeah, and you
changing.
can still do it yourself. Like you can still I worked on one job where it was a permanent position, so I got to be really I dug in with the help desk. And
Yeah,
it was so satisfying because they said, "Oh, we're getting this confusion over blah blah blah." And I wrote a methods and procedures. I literally sat next to the person and watched what they did so that the next person could do it. And it would be smoother and more helpful and like that kind of thing. So yeah,
yeah.
it is changing and a lot of it's automating, which is great.
Yes, very true. Very true. Right. So I'm going to take you through some rapid fire round questions now, Lynn.
Oh,
I'm sure you would have come across a lot of resources, particularly documentation related in your career. Just throw some lights on some of the most valuable ones according to you.
okay.
Yeah, any documentation site or blogs or any resources that you think
Yeah.
would help the
Um,
audience.
I read a lot of Michael Clark out of the UK. I love his blog. It's very practical. Like a lot of the stuff he talks about, I use right away or I learn a lot from him. So I
Okay.
go to him a lot. And I use the groups on LinkedIn. I love the groups on LinkedIn, the technical writer groups, the BA groups, because they do, some business analysis. And I just generally keep in touch on LinkedIn. There's a lot of wonderful um, kind of expert level people talking about the latest, especially about AI. I've learned a
Yes.
lot from people about AI. So yeah, I guess Michael's the only place I actually go regularly.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, one word that comes to your mind when you hear documentation.
Boring.
I didn't expect that from you.
I just picture like this giant stack of books and very boring, but it doesn't have to be, Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
good.
My goal is to make it non-boring. So,
Yeah, make it exciting.
yeah.
Now, one piece of advice you would give to your 20-year-old self?
Um, I would say take courses because everything changes so quickly and you're going to find yourself 5 years down the line and everyone else knows this thing you don't know. So continue to, be wise about what you choose. But take courses, definitely. Continue to learn
Right.
because that's what tech writers do. They're paid to learn, right? We learn new things over and over.
Very
And we
true.
and we like doing that. That's another piece of advice. If you like, I tell people, you may be good at writing, but do you like to learn over and over? Not everybody does, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And the
yeah.
stuff you're learning, right? The stuff you're learning is not always fascinating. You have to like the actual just process of learning
Yes.
something new. You have to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And if you do, you'll like tech writing. I really like what I do. I feel very fortunate.
Mm, fantastic. So, yeah, wishing you all the very best in your upcoming projects. And anything else I missed to ask you, Len, in this ample amount of years in this space? But please feel free to add anything that you would like to share with the audience today.
I don't think there is anything. You did a great job. I would just say good luck to everybody. It's a tough job market right now,
Right.
and happy holidays.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can't wait for the holiday and
Me neither.
hopefully good quality family time.
That right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so
your time.
much.
Yeah. Have a
Thank
lovely
you. It was
time.
really
Take care.
fun.
Thank you,
Thank
Lynn.
you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Knowledge Base Ninjas podcast. Please head to iTunes, rate, and provide honest feedback on the podcast. See you next week.